Vesta Street here in Delta. Hispanic male was chasing another Hispanic male down the street. Words were exchanged, possibly gang challenged with each other.
And by the time I was 15, I was shot 3 times.
On one hand, I was going to school, going to work, pleasing my parents, and on the other hand, in the other life, I was running around doing drugs. I wasn't trying to get clean. I didn't really believe I had a problem.
After he died, we realized it's not worth it. It's not worth your life.
I was raised here in Shelltown. My whole family, they were all bred into gang members. Every single one of my mom, my dad, every single uncle and aunt, they were all gang members. They were all bound to drugs. They were all on heroin. Most of them were heroin addicts, crack addicts. And, that's all I seen. I was raised around that. Remember my uncle, he sold a lot of drugs. His whole life he sold drugs, that was what he did. And he asked me, he sat me down at the table, and he's like, well, what are you gonna do? He used to call me Gordo. Gordo, what are you gonna do? I was like, I wanna do what you do. I'm 13 years old at this time, I got about 4 months before I turned 14. I'm like, I wanna do what you do, And so that's what I did. He helped me out. The money wasn't what I wanted. I started using meth. I started getting high off of it. I started messing up, The more drugs I would buy, the more I would come up short. After a while, I was just selling drugs to get high. Now, that's what I did from the age of 14 to like 17. I sold drugs. I was in and out of juvenile hall. I would run into my mom here and there. My mom mainly, she hung out in East San Diego. She hung out at the park over there on Fairmont. If I ever wanted to go see her, I'd just go to the park. I'd find her at the park, If I ever needed something, I'd go see her. If I didn't have no drugs, if I didn't have no money to get drugs, I'd go look for my mom. She would help me out, She would slide me a 20 or something if she had it. It's like the streets brought me up, not no parents, not no authority figures. Nobody really told me like this is what you got to do or this is how you got to do it. I was just gangbanging and bound to the streets, bound to drugs, heavily to drugs. Though I was, I couldn't stop slamming that meth. I couldn't stop sticking that needle in my arm. Somehow, some way, I found myself in the Victory Outreach Recovery Home. I thought I didn't have a problem with no drugs. I thought I didn't have a problem with nothing. They're in the home, obviously because God wanted this to happen, I accepted God into my life. And, if God could change a person like me, a person that had no future, a person that had no home training, no upbringing, and turn me around for something good, give me a heart that went from, all bad to all good. There has to be a God. I believe God has a plan for my life. I believe that, God didn't just bring me from these streets to be your average Christian. I don't believe that He changed me. I don't believe that He turned me around just to be average. I believe He turned me around, to do His work, I believe that I'm called to preach the gospel. I believe that I'm called to reach gang members, to reach drug addicts. I believe that I'm called to help people. And I believe that if He could change me, He could change anybody.
Even though life is tough, that even though people are going through problems and people are facing many trials in this world, we're not to tell them how tough it is, but our job is to offer the hope that they have been looking for. And how many know we have the hope? Come on, church. How many know we have the hope? They don't have the answer, but we have the answer. And now's the time as a church to be intentional in displaying massive amounts of love to families in our community. It is our job to take care of our city.